They say do one thing a day that terrifies you, and I have been anxious about this all week, so I would say this qualifies. I may have gone mad at this point. As you can see from probably the title of the video, I have decided to make my own Hanhaba obi. Why am I doing this? There is a kimono exhibit at my local museum, and this may be my only opportunity to wear my yukata in an environment where there may be other people also wearing their yukata. I really was on the fence about whether or not I should wear my yukata because I've never worn it outside of my house. In the interest of growth, I've decided to do it. I'm not coming into this blind. It's not even folks of Japanese heritage or like Japanese Americans. I'm not even concerned about being addressed by someone like that. I'm more concerned about being addressed by Americans because I think Americans are behind the curve of what's considered appropriation. Not that it's not a thing, because it absolutely is a thing, but when it comes to dressing in kimonos specifically, all of my research indicates that this is a part of Japanese culture that they like to share. If you're dressing like this as correctly as you know how, and you're coming from a place of respect and honoring it, then it's not problematic. And that's where I'm coming from. My understanding is also that they have so many kimono, yukata. They have so much of this stuff that they want to sell it. The yukata that I purchased came from a seller in Japan, and I'm making my own Hanhaba obi because since I made this purchase of the yukata, I learned that I guess it's acceptable to wear a normal, like full width obi with the yukata, but it seems more appropriate to wear a half width one. So that's the type of obi that I'm going to be making in this video. If someone approached me and told me that me wearing this type of dress made them uncomfortable, I absolutely respect that. I'm going to take a change of clothes just in case. But honestly, like I said, I think my bigger concerns would be someone like American who maybe is not familiar with the fact that this is a part of Japanese culture that it seems like they like to share, at least in most cases. I'm not going to make blanket statements for everyone. I take all of my kimono related cues from Billy. Billy is a certified kimono instructor, teacher. She is heavily immersed in that culture. Yukata is like on the casual end of the spectrum, so that's where I am, and I feel like it's more appropriate for this event that I'm going to. It's also something that you tend to wear in the warmer months, in warmer climates, and as I've mentioned before, I live in a tropical climate, so it just makes sense for me and for this specific event. They have a lot of events happening around this kimono exhibit at the museum, and one of those includes how to wear kimono. So I'm hopeful that this will be an environment where most of the people are going to be informed about the practice of wearing kimono. All that said, let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes. So my Hanhaba obi is going to be one fabric on one side and another fabric on the other. And the fabrics that I have are a gray satin and a purple, I think this is a poplin. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. That's what it looks like. So one side's going to be this, the other side's going to be this. Because I am a plus size person, both in width and height, my Hanhaba obi is going to be 4.5 meters long. It's going to be 178 inches. I have my strips cut out to width. Now I need to adjust my strips in terms of the obi length and also take into account seam allowance. I'm using a 1/2 inch seam allowance for this. I may go ahead and use the interfacing that I have, even though it's not very stiff, just on the satin fabric because I feel like it's gonna help give it enough shape to stay up. Any Japanese-based vendors that I use to acquire my materials, I will share that because if there's nothing else that I can do with this video, I want to share those resources. Let's get started. This is going to be putting my strips together to make the OB length. And I think I mentioned this, but I'm sewing this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Let's do it. I used a universal needle on this, but I'm gonna switch to a microtex needle to sew the satin because I've worked with that type of satin before, just in a different color, and the microtex needle performed the best. Pray for me. All of my satin pieces are together now, so now it's time to press open the seam allowance and apply the interfacing. This is all so long. 4.5 meters of everything. It's kind of nuts. Hi. I drastically underestimated how much my lower back would be needed to iron this iron-on interfacing. So my joints are screaming, and I'm gonna go ahead and sew the satin to the poplin. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's to not sew when tired. It's late, my eyes are hurting. It's time to call it quits for the night, even though I'm nowhere near done. I'm trying to align the seams on both sides of the OB so that they're, together. And I'm finding that the spacing in between my seams on the poplin layer are greater than the spacing of the seams that are on the satin layer. But that's a tomorrow me problem. Time traveler me will see you tomorrow. I can't even think straight. We're back after at least a few hours sleep. This is why I don't like to sew when I'm tired. When I start to get to a certain point, I just shut it down no matter where I'm at because I'll always think better when I'm not exhausted. I know it sucks because especially if you're on a time crunch, but I can't recommend it enough because I took this out to my dining table and laid it out. And when I laid it out and matched my seams up, everything was in alignment. So I'm thinking that maybe the fact that I was trying to pin it while sitting at my desk and I didn't have enough pins to be able to do it properly. I also think I've learned a bit of a lesson here that going forward, if I'm going to pin something, instead of trying to do it sitting up where gravity could possibly pull down the fabric that I'm working with, I need to lay it on a flat surface and pin it on a flat surface. I've pinned the heck out of this thing. It's ready to go. Let's sew it. I wanted to show you the footage of turning the OB inside out once I got most of it stitched up. And I also just wanted to share that I had nothing but positive vibes at that event. It was swankier than I thought it was going to be, but the longer I was there, the more I adjusted, and several people commented on my quote-unquote kimono. So maybe I should have made the correction that it's a yukata, but I didn't. That's something for me to think on for the future. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested in more DIY content, self-awareness, or just some fantasy geek millennial lady and her cat, go ahead and subscribe. I upload videos most Fridays, and I'll see all of you ethereal little dumplings again real soon. Bye! Yeah.